All right, everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be discussing what a scapholunate ligament tear is. If you're like me, you probably never heard of that until it happened to you. I was participating in some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training, and I have been for a little over a year and a half now. Ended up getting caught in a wrist lock, and before I had time to tap, there was a very sharp fireball lightning type pain in my right wrist, my dominant hand. And I allowed the injury to go unseen or looked at by a physician for a couple of months, even though the pain continued to persist and increase. With different types of activities, I continue to train with weights and doing pull-ups and push-ups, bench press, deadlifts, power cleans, and everything you can think of. And I also continue to participate in my jujitsu training. The pain became severe enough where I decided that it was really time to go and have it looked at. So we're going to look at here, what is a scapholunate ligament tear and whether you should have yours looked at, or if you're just, in a similar situation and looking to do some additional research here. But all of my information is coming from sportsmd.com, as well as conversations with my physician, surgeon, doctor, and so forth. I am not a doctor. I'm not a surgeon. I am not a physician of any kind. So just throwing that disclaimer out there. But I will go ahead and share my screen. All right. Again, this information is coming from sportsmd.com. Title: Scapholunate Ligament Tear. Although there are many ligaments and injuries in the wrist, a scapholunate ligament tear is the most commonly injured. The scapholunate ligament connects the scaphoid to the lunate. The most important part of the ligament is on the back side of the wrist. Normally, the scaphoid and the lunate move together because the scapholunate ligament connects them tightly. When a tear occurs, the scaphoid bends forward or it flexes, and the lunate bends backwards or it extends, and a gap may form between the bones. Anyway, it goes on to talk about how the wrist is a complex joint and it composed of the end of the radius, the big bone of the forearm on the thumb side, and then the ulna, the small bone of the forearm, and then the small finger side, as well as carpal bones. You've heard of carpal tunnel. Well, there's your carpal bones. There are 8 of them, and so it lists them here. And the scaphoid is a small bone in the wrist on the thumb side. It is located in the thumb side of the wrist. So if you put your thumb up in the air like a hitchhiker, you will make a small depression at the base of your thumb. So you can take a look there and you see a little small depression. This is called the anatomic snuff box. If you press with your finger deep into the floor of the anatomic snuff box, you can barely feel the scaphoid. The scaphoid is shaped like a twisted peanut and is only about 1 inch long or a little shorter. So what is a scapholunate ligament tear in athletes? It can vary from mild sprains all the way to complete tears with other torn ligaments. They may also be accompanied by other injuries such as a scaphoid fracture or a lunate dislocation. And these are more severe injuries. And for the purpose of this article, we will stay focused on the scapholunate ligament tear, which is what I suffered. So here's a picture showing the bones in the hand. So this is your wrist here, and then these are the carpal bones here. And right here is showing where basically the joint separation begins to take place. And so we come on down here, looking at a diagnosis. Basically, the tear is caused by a fall or a sudden load on the wrist. That's what happened to me. Got caught in a wrist lock, and before I was able to tap, the load became unbearable for my ligament and it ruptured. So it talks about when a physician examines it and basically the process, which is what happened with me. I talked with my physician. He needed me to come in so he could take a look at it. And based on what he was seeing and what I was telling him, he said we need to take an x-ray. And the x-ray revealed a separation in the joints. And that's all he could tell that was taking place. So here's a picture of an x-ray, and here you see separation being shown in the joint that should not be there. So the separation could be seen in the x-ray, but he could not know for sure if the ligament was torn or how much it was torn or whether it was completely torn, and needed an MRI for that. So an MRI was ordered, and this article talks about an MR needing to be ordered in order to confirm a ligament tear. And mine was ordered, and the physician was able to confirm that a tear had occurred. Scapholunate ligament tear surgery, if there is gapping and increased angulation between the scaphoid and lunate on the x-rays, or if treatment without surgery has not been successful, then surgery is warranted. If x-rays show gapping, as in dynamic or static injuries, then surgery is warranted. This involves repairing the ligament. And I'll go into some details of the surgery here in just a few minutes. But as far as the recovery time, what's the recovery time look like for a surgery reconstruction? Well, it's a lengthy process. According to my surgeon, he told me on 2 different occasions, once during the consultation visit and then once before they wheeled me back to the surgery room. He said it is a extensive surgery, and it will require a lot of pain, or will involve a lot of pain, and will be a long process. In order to achieve 100% recovery, my surgeon is telling me that I need a full 12 months. And but recovery time is 6 to 12 months. And we say 6 to 12 months because you can really kind of start doing some more vigorous activity and exercises at 6 months. But leading up to that 6-month period, you have a 3-month period where you will be in a cast or a stent of some kind, and that holds the wrist in place. You also have pins that are placed in the wrist to hold the repaired ligaments in place. And you do that for 3 months. At that point, the cast or the stent is removed, the pins are removed, and at that point you begin physical therapy. And physical therapy, they say, anticipate a decent amount of pain as you have to work that motion, relearn that motion in your joints, loosen all the ligaments up and everything, because your wrist has been stationary for 3 months. But going on into the details of the surgery itself, I will pull that screen up there. All right, so this second website comes from ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, National Library of Medicine, National Center for Biotechnology Information, Journal of Wrist Surgery, Scapholunate Ligament Reconstruction. So again, background, the reconstruction poses a challenge to orthopedic surgeon. Again, my surgeon told me that it was an extensive surgery, but there's a lot of technical terms in here that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. But basically what happens is they take a graft from a good ligament that runs across the wrist, and they use it to attach to the carpal bones that are displaced, or that are expanding where they shouldn't be expanding, and separating. And they also take part of the damaged scaphoid ligament and reuse it as well, as far as attaching it back to the bones. And they basically perform a twisting motion to cinch the bones back in place where they should be. And then they insert pins into those bones and ligaments, and they put a cast around it and tell you to hold still for the next 3 months with very little movement and everything. So I have been in my cast for almost 5 weeks now, and it's kind of frustrating. But I mean, I went into it with the mindset that I was going to get the surgery completed and go through the process, because I wanted to remain as active as possible. Again, I'm determined to get back to my high level of activity. I love physical training. I love training with weights. I love doing CrossFit. I love doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And again, I like staying active. It does me good physically as well as mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And I also want to stay as active as possible for my children and for my family, and as well as being a most capable man as possible. Uh, so so anyway, I decided to go through the surgery. Here's a kind of a quick shot of my current condition. Here they got that thumb locked down again. As I said earlier, that ligament, that main ligament, the scaphoid ligament, the scapholunate ligament is attached to the thumb. So in the reconstruction, they have to lock this thumb down where it can't move, keep it still so the healing can take place. So so there you go. If you're interested in following along as following my recovery process, again, I'm basically 5 weeks in a 6 to 12 month recovery. I know when I was doing some personal research and looking, there were a few people out there that had put a little bit of information out there, but I was looking to be more detailed with my recovery process. I'm looking to stay active. I want and basically looking at it as an opportunity to improve on some of my weaknesses, which is my cardio and my flexibility. So I'm planning on improving those things as I have to stay more stationary as far as my upper body is concerned. But if you're interested in following along, be sure and subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and share this with other people that you like. And I'll continue to provide updates. But we'll see you on the next one.